Hey, what's going on, everybody? Keith here, Two Guys How To. June's with me, and another day, another thing to fix. So problems we're having, we're working on a F350 with a 7.3 turbo diesel, just doing the regular maintenance, and noticed that the heat isn't quite as cold, hot as it used to be. It's a lot colder, so we're going to go ahead and swap the thermostat. We did use some Prestone additive in the radiator, let it clean everything out for the last few days, and ran it and all that crap. So we're going to install a new thermostat here. It's brand new OEM from Ford. It comes with the seal around the outside. So we're going with all OEM parts lately, just because the other stuff's been junk, and it's actually, we get a better deal at the Ford dealer than we do at Advance or anywhere else. So here's the bag. It's the RT-1201, and it's the Robert Tom-1201. That's the factory OEM part number there. So we got the new thermostat. It's located right down here. If you follow your upper radiator hose right down to it, that's it. This one comes with the gasket, and it's going to sit down in there just like that, right down in this location here. So what we're going to do is we're going to drain the radiator, because we put the cleaner in there, and this antifreeze is past due. So we're going to drain the radiator as well as drain the actual block. So let's get down underneath the vehicle here. Yeah, and while we're in there, we're going to do another video on the block heater. We got a brand new one from Ford, and the box, I think, is inside the garage with the part number on it. Let's see if we can get that real quick before we get started. Hopefully it's in here. And we went over this before on another video, but this actual part number, if I can even find it, is the Frank 7 Tom Zebra 6 Apple 051AA. So it's an F7TZ 6A051AA, and that's going to be on another video, but we're going to do it while we're in there today. So let's get busy. Let's get down underneath. There's a check plug that drains the block, 1/4 inch, and we got a 1/4 inch ratchet. Actually, I got a 3/8 drive ratchet with a 1/4 inch adapter on the end, and I can show you where it is. Just go over to the oil filter, look right up next to it. We got some drip trays down here, and you can see I've got the socket hanging off of it right now. Let's see if I can get up there and actually physically show it to you. I'll take this extension off of here, and you can see it. It's a 1/4 inch little teeny check plug right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put this back in. See if you guys can see it on this with the light. It's hard up underneath here to hold everything, but I'll show you one more time. Right there, that's it, right up next to the oil filter. You can't miss it, just clean the dirt off. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that out and crack it loose. We're gonna drain the block from there, and then we're gonna go over to the radiator over where June is. And we just gotta, I can't really see it. Yeah, but there's a plastic, is it metal? It's plastic, isn't it?
Plastic, yep.
Yeah, it's just a little plastic kind of petcock system that leaks out. So we're gonna go ahead and crack that too gently with a crescent wrench, and be careful. Sometimes the reverse threads, just gently undo that. Let's see if we can show you on that what he's got going. Oh man,
Use that tray for that one.
Yeah, you can use that big. You can use that tray. So you can see where it is, right there on the edge of the radiator. If he opens it, it's just going to drip out the bottom. And we're going to go and run and do another service call. You can just see how dirty that was. So we're going to let that leak out of there. And then we've got another drip tray. Whoop, splattering. And we're going to put another one right underneath this other check plug there, where that extension's coming off. And there is another plug under the starter. It's back up behind the starter there. Man, and you might be able to get to it without taking the starter out. I usually just take the starter out. You can go over top the starter and drain that one out. I don't know if you guys can barely see it up through there, but the only thing with that one is it could saturate your starter motor. So sometimes we just take it out while we're in there. we go ahead and hit some dielectric grease and wire brush all those connections. This is a plow truck, so you can already see the corrosion right there on all these wires. So we'll probably take that one out and drop the other plug, the 1/4-inch plug that's behind there. All right, you can see it really coming out. June cracked the overflow bottle up here. He's regulating the flow of air, and you can see it really coming out right there, down into that drip pan. And it's a good idea just to go ahead and change this crap out every few years, because the antifreeze just gets worn out and it gets ugly. And I'll show you that check plug right here. It's got some red Loctite on it. Whoop. I'm gonna go ahead and put some blue on it when we put it back in. Clean it up with a rag and some cleaner. And we'll go ahead and put this back in. So let's let that drain for a little bit, maybe about 30 minutes. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and take this upper radiator hose off. Go ahead and get that upper clamp there, June. And there's a bottom clamp. We're just using a pair of pliers and pinching it and basically moving it down the hose out of the way. There you go.
These clamps, you can squeeze them and they will snap
and lock.
But they scare me, man.
Yeah, they make a special pair of pliers for them, but don't worry about it. Just use a pair that's big enough. We undid the bottom one, and you can just pull that dang hose off of there. Sometimes you got to remove the belt if you want to get an extension down in there straight on that one bolt, because the one bolt in the back is just hard to get to. And we can show them exactly what the housing looks like right there, where the thermostat sits down in there. And bam, there it is. You can see we're looking up at the top of the thermostat. That pellet part sits at the bottom. And we sprayed this thing again with some WD-40, and we're going to go at it again. Normally we get the motor hot and crack it open, but we're doing so much work on this truck today, it's still it's cold, so we can't start it because we don't have antifreeze in it just yet. We could get a little hot if we had to with no antifreeze and shut it down and then crack those bolts off of there. So let's go ahead and get that off of there and show you guys what's up, clean all that up, and get this new thermostat thrown in there. All right guys, next morning, June put more PB Blaster on it even early this morning, and you can see where we're at down there. You probably can't even see now, we need a light. You can see it if I cover up the sun. And actually we've been hitting it with this PB and this dang torch. Very gently I've been heating up this outside of the housing there, and I'll show you to get the bolts off, because we had the first bolt break. We're gonna weld, we can tack weld that and add and get that one out. But the back one's gonna be a total nightmare. If we gotta go after that, I'd have to sawzall this housing off and get in there, and June can weld it. But we're heating it, so I'm starting to get them loose. June's gonna hold this thing back like this. Can you hold it like this, June? And I'll just put this right here like this. Maybe it'll stay. And let's go at it here lightly with this torch. You want to make sure. Let's get that PB Blaster off real fast here. Otherwise it'll catch fire. And just keep it out. You don't want to get that H-pop hot. You don't want to get the timing chain cover too dang hot. Timing chain cover I'm not worried about, or the water pump. But that H-pop gasket in there and the H-pop itself for the high pressure oil, we do not want to mess up. So let's go at it again. A little bit of heat, turn it down. And you'll see that antifreeze start blowing up, and that's when we're going to hit that bolt again hard, or real lightly, but we're going to hit it fast. All right, let's go at it a little bit here. Hurry up before it cools, and what we're doing is we're going out with it, and then we're going back in a couple turns with it, and let's go back out, and that'll keep feeding that juice down in there, that PB Blaster down in there. Just be patient. We're using that heat so we can shrink down one part and let the bolt just come out. Really, by getting both of them hot, in theory, you're not supposed to get both the bolt and the housing hot, but you know what? That steel bolt is what's bonding to that aluminum housing, right, June? It's just,
Yeah.
it gets some kind of metal chemical reaction when they get hot. And let's go back in a little bit. I like to hit it with a little bit more blaster. And let's go in with those threads. And it might be boring people, but I tell you what, you don't want to have to change the water pump on changing a $28 Ford thermostat gasket. I think we're almost out. I can feel it, it's getting looser. I'm gonna go back in and work that PB blaster, tighten it back up, work that blaster down in there one more time. And let's go back out with it. Might just have to call Ford and get 3 new bolts. And we're gonna put some of that anti-seize grease on these when we reinstall this thing, man. This is ridiculous. Let's see if we get this out this way, and we'll go to the next bolt and do the same thing. This is what you do when you got bolts that just will not come out. You got to be patient. And that PB blaster and that little propane torch. Let's see if we can get it all the way out. And then you guys can do it yourself, or you can break them off, or whatever it is that you want to do. I would recommend doing it this way. You can see. Hopefully the bolt stripped before the housing stripped. Hopefully that's not aluminum stuck in there. So we're gonna have to get a new bolt. But that's the problem. Yeah, some of the housing might be stuck in there, but we got plenty of thread to make it work, or we can go with a longer bolt because the bolts actually come out the bottom on these, so I'm not worried about it. Can move to the next one and see if we can get this one out from the heat that we applied. This one was totally stuck earlier, and I broke the head off of this one, this first one, facing the driver's side. And that's when we said, you know what, when in doubt, burn it out. We should have used the damn torch to begin with. But we didn't really think we'd need heat. We never had to use heat on one of these before, have we, June? Just come right out. Yeah, man. I mean, it's just crazy. But that chemical reaction, it's nasty, man. So this one's out, and these threads look a lot better. So
thermostats and water pumps are like the worst.
Yeah, now we're gonna have to take this off. All right, so there's your thermostat housing here. We just took that bolt out. Let's just check to see if there's a gasket anywhere on here. I don't really see one on here. We'll wire brush this and try to keep the remnants out of the motor. And you can see that gasket right there comes up. You shouldn't be able to really push it down that easily, and it's not opening, and that's why we're not getting the proper heat going down in over to the heater core and heating the cab. So let's go ahead and pop this out of here. And you got a screwdriver back here, June? Actually, where's these? We'll grab this thing with some pliers and just pull it up out of there. I know it's junk anyway, so I went ahead and just popped it out. And you can see the pellet side goes down, and the housing isn't that bad in there. It doesn't look dirty. I'm gonna put a rag in it down in there, some paper, while June cleans off this outside here. So let's shake this out, shove this down in there, so June can clean off that top with a wire brush and use a little dentist tool or screwdriver around in this edge where that gasket sits down in there, and we'll be ready to go. And you can see the thermostat, what it looks like. They're identical. These are made by, who was this one made? Mayer? Or Mahal? What is it?
Whale.
Whale, yeah. So we matched the numbers. Whaler. We matched the numbers. They got the check valve in them. This makes bleeding the system a lot easier. It's a little hole with a check ball in there, which is, you know, it's a good thermostat. And it's the RT1201. So Robert Tom 1201. It's made for the 7.3 motors. And you can see what happened. You see all these holes down in here. You can see light through it right around there as I go like that. Well, on the new one you can't. There's actually a gasket there. So what happened is that gasket broke off and allowed too much water in there, and that's why the truck was running much cooler than before. So we're going to go ahead back with the OEM thermostat. It's got that nice check ball in it. We match the numbers up. It comes with the gasket preset all around the edge, and we're going to drop this in. June's got those all greased up. We painted this housing here. So if we get up inside here, like so, and June cleaned that housing up real good. It's actually a little piece of dirt on that rag there. Let's see if I can get it out. I'll pull it out. So we're good, and you can see way down in there now, the big cavity. So let's go ahead and just put that thermostat. We want the pellet side down. And just set it in there. Push it in, it should go all the way around like that.
Sit down in that little groove.
Yeah, it sits down in it, and I'll pull it out real quick just to show you how it goes in. Yep. I was just checking for any arrows or anything crazy going on. And the thermostat housing will go on like this. Simple, easy, bada bing, and you can see right there, that's looking down into the thermostat there. What do you got? The one original bolt we're gonna put back in the back, that 8 mil, and actually I'm gonna probably feed it down in there. I'll do that one last, and I'll just run these Allen keys. So we're gonna go ahead and just get this down and snug it up. We're not gonna kill it. I'm not going to torque it crazy amounts, because if we would have used a wider head bolt on this, you won't be able to get a socket down around them. They do make another housing that isn't the same as this one. So let's get this tightened down, and we'll get the hose hooked back up and be ready to add antifreeze. All right, we got some Prestone. I've been buying this lately. It's a 10-year, 300,000 miles, even though I wouldn't leave it in that long, for $3 more. This is 100% concentrated, just to add water. So we're gonna use probably 2 gallons of that, 2 gallons of water, fill up this overflow bucket. Once we get that thing all the way, it's gonna take a lot, because it's gotta go down into the block and fill the whole entire radiator back up. So we're gonna add enough. I'm gonna probably add one gallon of this, 1 gallon of water, another whole gallon of solid antifreeze, and then another whole gallon of water, another gallon of whole antifreeze, and then start adding water off the next gallon. And that'll put us at about what, three, probably gonna take about 4, maybe 5 on this, because we did drain the whole system. So we're gonna keep filling it up, start the motor, let the motor run on high heat, and keep checking it and bring it to this level with the straight antifreeze and straight water 50-50 mix. So if you put a gallon of this in there, make sure you put a gallon of water. If you put a gallon and a half of this, we'll go over and we'll add a gallon and a half of water. We'll keep filling these back up. So we're gonna add this, start the motor up, and check for leaks. Let me go ahead and see what's up, see if this thing starts making some noise. You ready, June? All right, let's fire her up. Wait for the glow plug relay light to go off there. And let's go ahead and turn all the way hot. I put it on this vent up here, and I'm gonna go high with it, and I'm just gonna let this thing idle for about 15-20 minutes. And we're gonna check for leaks, see if there's no leaks, and make sure that heat's coming out nice and hot before the snow comes. We're gonna let this thing idle. June's down there now checking for leaks. And I'll go around the side, shine the light up in there, check underneath. Everything so far is good, but we want it to build up pressure. And I'm actually gonna leave this cap off for a little bit. And then after about 5 minutes or so, I'll put it back on. Let it build up that pressure and suck it back in and see if there's any leaks on that new hose or the thermostat housing. June's got the flashlight over there. And he's gonna shine it down in there and check for leaks. So about 10-15 minutes, check the heat, and you should be straight. All right, it's been about 20 minutes, and you guys can see the temperature gauge is almost halfway up, and that's where we want it. Before, when the thermostat had deteriorated on that rubber gasket, it was all the way down, just above the C at the first line, so we're good. And if I rev it a little bit, it might climb. It'll climb all the way to the half once you get going. And I've got that heat on high with the upper vents here. You can just make sure you put it on high heat. Doesn't matter, just no air conditioning. Doesn't matter what it's on. I wouldn't do the defrost. Just one of the other controls, and make sure it's on high. And that heat, that'll open that thermostat up. So we're good to go. We're good to go with this truck for sure. And we saved a ton of money from taking it to the dealer. All right, and it's dark out. I just turned the truck off, and you can see I've been letting it run about 20-30 minutes. I showed inside there, and it's down a little bit. We've been adding to it. We got about maybe 4.5 gallons of fluid total, 2 1/4 of straight water, and 2 gallons of antifreeze, or maybe I think it was 3, almost. How many gallons is this? 5 gallons or something total.
Almost 6. Right?
Yeah, almost 6. Yeah, so 3. Make sure you get 3 gallons of antifreeze, and then mix it with 3 gallons of water when it's the concentrated. So there it is. It's full. Everything's good to go. I turned the truck off, and it went down a little bit. When you start it, it'll go back up a little bit. And when you run it up the road, just pop the hood when you get back home or out to the grocery store or whatever, and bring some antifreeze. It might take some more. Just leave the truck running and just top it off all the way to that max line right there at the very top, and you can see it. And this system's good, man. The fluid's clean, the hoses are changed, new thermostat, painted the thermostat housing, and we're out.
I'm not a pig, I'm a lawyer.
What's up, Iggy? Talk to him before I shut the video down. Oh yeah. Yep. You're not a pig, you're a lawyer. He's not a pig, he's a lawyer. Peace.